Live.
So here we are one more time, and I have to introduce myself. I am Mónica Stoker from El Blog para Aprender Inglés. And el Blog del Inglés, this is the new and the old blog. And also I have a company called EPI where you can find, we do lessons over Skype. And I am with my good friend, Craig Wealand, that has two websites that are wonderful websites with lots of free resources. So, Craig, tell us about your websites.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Monica. Hello, everyone watching. Yeah. Yes, as Monica said, I'm Craig, and I work at mansioningles.com, which is a website that has free material to improve your English. Go to mansioningles.com, and there you will find lots of material, free courses, listenings, lots of things to help you improve your English, and a podcast. If you are a podcast listener or you're curious to know what a podcast is and how it can help you improve your English, go to inglespodcast.com, and listen, and I hope you like it.
So here we have Gemma. There's always our loyal follower. Thank you, Gemma, for coming. Hi,
Gemma.
She already wrote a message there. And okay, so what's the topic for today? We have a very easy topic. I think it's easy and very nice for your vocabulary. If you want to grow your vocabulary, it's very useful, right? Okay.
Yes, so we're going to speak about words with multiple meanings. So there are words in English that are exactly the same. You write them the same, you spell them the same, you say them the same, but they have more than one meaning. So they're called homonyms. They just have multiple meanings, different meanings, and we're going to look at some with you today and see if you know the meanings, and hopefully you'll learn different meanings of words that you already know, but you didn't know you could use them for another meaning.
Yeah, this is very useful. I find it very useful because many times when you're reading something, you see the word and you think you know the meaning, and you say, doesn't make sense here. So this is very strange. Why do they, for example, the first word, let's go with the first word that we have. And this is for Craig, okay? What the meaning of this? Suddenly you know that it's barking is what the sound that a dog makes, but then suddenly, what is the meaning with tree?
Yeah. Well, yes, you possibly know that bark is the noise that dogs make. Woof woof. They don't say woof woof in Spanish, do they? They say bow wow. Bow wow, right?
Yeah, they speak a different language in Spanish.
Different translation. We translate it as woof woof. So that's bark. That's barking. That's the verb to bark, and it's also a noun, a bark. But we have skin, don't we? Humans have skin. Well, trees have also some skin on the outside, and that's called bark. So tree bark is the name of the, would you say corteza in Spanish? The outside?
Yes, the corteza the trees have a corteza. That's the name. That's the
exactly.
Yeah, have a corteza, and that in English is called bark.
And that's called bark.
The same as the sound that dogs make. So arf arf. I thought there was arf arf in American English. It was arf arf.
Is that American English? Arf arf.
Well, maybe I'm confused with some other language.
No, I like it. I like the fact that American English dogs make a different sound to British English dogs, and Spanish dogs. They all speak differently.
Yeah, they make the sound whoa whoa whoa. This is the different sound. Okay, that's to bark. Ladrar in Spanish is ladrar. Okay. Now let's go to the second word, multiple meanings. This is interesting because coat, the most common meaning of coat is a heavy jacket, un abrigo, no? And that we use for the winter. Everybody knows this meaning. I think everybody knows coat but then suddenly you, for example, you buy some paint to paint a piece of furniture, and it says coat of, I don't know, coat of, you should put 2 coats. Dos abrigos? No, the meaning is capas. The second meaning here is capas. So that's why I said coat of paint, or varnish, or the barniz. No, there's also a coat, means like a layer. So you coat it. That's what. And the coat also is for animals. They have, dogs have a coat also. And that in Spanish is la piel.
Piel.
Piel, I think it's piel, but in English it's coat. Like the Dalmatas, for example, have a very nice coat with these dots. That's a coat. It's a piel. And then we have coat of arms. It's something that Craig loves, to have a coat of arms. And what is the in Spanish? How do you say coat? Because he just found out.
I just learned a new word today in Spanish. It's blasón. In Spanish.
And I don't know. Correct me if anybody can put on the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Blasón, I think, is some kind of like the name of the family. The name of the family in the Middle Ages. This is something of the Middle Ages, where they put the names and families that were important, of course, of the feudal lords, and they used like some kind of sign to say that they belong to a certain family. So I think that's the blasón. But if anybody knows, they can write it on the chat and explain to us what is exactly a coat of arms or blasón. Because I'm not so sure of what that is. Okay, Gemma, perhaps you know. You can look at escudo de armas. Yeah, Eduardo, there's one.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Escudo de familia, Felipe. Escudo de familia, and Eduardo says escudo de armas. So okay, not the name, but the weapons. They say armas is the weapons of the family. So because every family had some kind of symbol that represented that family name, and that is the escudo de armas, especially for knights, para caballeros, no? For you were a knight when you had a horse, I think, no?
Yeah, when you served the king or the queen.
Yeah, you were a fighter, a warrior, and so you had your the coat of arms represented your family roots and all that. I suppose it's that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Eduardo and Felipe. Okay, now what do we have? The next one.
Okay, cross. Well, cross can be a verb and a noun, and you probably know, especially if you're religious and you go to church, then you know that there's a cross in the Catholic religion, and Jesus died on the cross. It's also a verb. You can cross the road, cross the street. You can cross from one side to the other side. But there's a meaning in British English that means to be angry. And it's quite common. It's colloquial, but it's very common in British English as an adjective. Why are you cross with me? What did I do wrong? Why are you angry? So if you are cross, you're angry. And there's an expression to cross the line, which is idiomatic. If you cross the line with someone or something, you go too far. You take advantage of someone. You can say you've crossed the line. You've gone too far. Why did you do that? So there's another use of cross. Of course, you can cross.
Spanish, it's the same, but it's not with cross. It's pasar la raya o pasar la línea. No te pases de la raya. No te pases de la línea. So to cross. But I was very surprised with that word when the first time I heard in British English to be cross. And I thought, what is that? To be crossed? Yeah. But I didn't understand the meaning, yeah. And then suddenly I realized, I sort of deducted there was something to do with to be angry, you know, to be to be angry, but this only British, because American people don't say that at all.
It's not very common. No, it's not very common in American English. They may understand you, but it's definitely common in British English. So,
yes, and very common, very common. I would say that most people say more the word crossed than angry, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't sound so strong. It sounds a bit softer than angry. Angry is quite an aggressive word, and cross means the same, but it sounds a bit softer. Why are you cross with me? Did I do something wrong? Why are you angry? So yeah, we use that. I found one or two other meanings. Of course, you can cross your legs when you sit down. You put one leg over the other one. You cross your legs.
But that's the verb, the same as to cross the road, no? Similar.
Yeah. And you can cross your eyes. If you're cross-eyed, your eyes look into the center.
Bizco.
Cross-eyed person.
Bizco.
Cross-eyed.
Okay. No, Gemma says, a ver, Alejandro says, cross the line is similar to the last straw.
It's similar, but the last straw está más fuerte. It's the last chance you get.
Yes,
you'd say that to children. This is the last straw. I'm not going to tell you again. That's it. I've finished with you. But yeah, if you cross the line, then you go just a little bit too far. If you're joking with someone.
It's the same as in Spanish. Don't cross the line. This is exactly the same.
No pasas la línea.
Yeah, o la raya. And then Gemma says, molesto, she was referring to be crossed. No, it's molesto, no.
Stronger.
Molesto is...
bother.
Bother, yeah, to be bother. I'm bothered, no. It's really to be angry, but not as... I don't think we have a word like that in Spanish that is not enfadado. There's not a specific word that is softer than enfadado. Irritado, but it's the same. So let's see the following one. Do you have? Do you want to add anything to cross?
Well, there's one or two more. There's it can mean a mixture of something. For example, if you listen to some music, you can say this music is a cross between hip hop and reggae, which means a combination of two things. It's a cross between these two styles, which means a mixture. And one more use of cross, if you're a perfectionist and you like to do things in a perfect way, you can say it's very important to dot the I's and cross the T's, which means pay attention to every detail. Cross the T's and dot the I's. Because you put the dot in the I and you cross the T.
Poner un punto sobre la I y poner la raya sobre...
Do you say the same thing in Spanish?
I'm trying to think. Maybe our loyal followers are going to give a translation for that, because I don't have a translation. Did you say something like...
I crossed with him? No,
in the meaning
Felipe.
No.
Esto no se dice.
To cross, es cruzar, no, not to meet. No.
You can run across someone, which is a phrasal verb. If you run across someone by accident, you meet them by accident. But you wouldn't use it as a full principal verb. No.
Oh,
you can be cross with him. You can be angry with him. But if you meet someone by accident, then you ran into him, or you ran across him, or came across him. So you'd use a phrasal verb.
Okay, I have Ruth. She's my student, and she's saying...
Hi, Ruth.
Tienes el día... O está revirado. That's a very good translation, but it's only Spanish from Spain, I think, not from South America. Está revirado. Okay. Está revirado es angry, ¿no? Está un poco revirado. That's true. But it's a very specific word. It's a very specific word. That is true. Good, Ruth. That's a good... and molesto, but not very angry, Gemma says. Yeah. But not so angry. No, not... Yeah, molesto, but... no, but it's still molesto. Still, I think it's not... Molesto in Spanish has nothing to do with being angry. Well, I don't know. I think Then Alejandro, here we have a contribution for your idiomatic expression. Poner los puntos sobre las íes.
It's the same in Spanish. No?
No, but here the meaning is different. I find that it's different. If there's somebody that knows better. Poner los puntos sobre las íes is clarify something. To clarify something. To say like, well, now there's a big debate about the problem with the vaccines and if they are going to be sent by the European Union. No, I want poner los puntos sobre everything. Let me make this clear, and because it's like you finish the letter, you finish doing something. That is the expression in Spanish, the meaning of that expression. But in English, is to focus. It means to focus, no? That's what Craig was explaining. Yeah, Gemma, she says, I mean to be angry, but not a lot. No, yeah, that's true. That is to be cross. Okay, another next word. The next word is deal.
It's for you.
Deal. And this is a deal. Okay, this is collocations. There are many collocations here. We say a deal, that's a deal. For example, Craig and I, he's trying to sell me his bike. Okay, he doesn't want it anymore. And well, let's suppose you're trying to sell me your bike. And you say 100 euros. I said, no, that's too expensive. And then I offer him 80 euros. And he says, okay, that's a deal.
It's a deal.
Yeah, it's a deal means trato hecho. Okay, and we shake hands. That's the deal. Okay, trato hecho. That's
You have to go the opposite way, Monica. You have to go
the
other. No, the other one. That's it.
That's it.
That one.
That's a deal. So I bought his bike for 80 euros. Okay.
It's a deal. It's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
It's una ganga. It's a good deal.
It's a good deal. Yeah, it's a good deal. Puedes decir es una ganga. Then another meaning, separate meaning. This is an expression also in English is that's a big deal. For example, big deal, something that is very important, something that is not very simple. No, like when something is very important and relevant, it's a big deal. For example, for me now to go to Madrid is a big deal. To go to Madrid center because I don't live in the center. It's a big deal because, well, there are many things I have to take into account. No, well, Madrid is not a good example because we don't have many restrictions. But if you're in Valencia, for example, there are more restrictions, and so it's a big deal for you to go from one place to the other. Yeah.
Not so much now, but it was a big deal for me to go and visit my sister because she lived outside of the city.
Yeah.
So to see her, it wasn't very far, but it was a big deal because of the restrictions. That's a good example.
Alejandro is suggesting another meaning. I have to deal with. Deal with. That's another meaning. We didn't write it down there. This is true. To deal with something, it means me tengo que enfrentar, ¿no? Enfrentar o gestionar una cosa, ¿no? I have to deal with all these things. For example, every month, when the month ends, I have to deal with lots of paperwork, papeleo. I have to tengo que gestionar, deal with, un montón de papeleo, ¿no? Every person that has a company, small company, or every person that works as an accountant has to deal with paperwork and taxes to deal with, okay? Here we have another example. Good, Alejandro. Big deal, similar to pacto. Yeah, that was a big deal. Also can be an agreement. So many... Leonardo, thank you for this suggestion. Lidiar con, also translation to deal with. Tengo que lidiar con papeleos, impuestos, taxes, and all kinds of things. Okay? Every month. Now, the last, and this is a surprising meaning, deal, to deal cards. Okay, when you play cards, you deal them first with the other players. So you distribute them. Es repartir cartas, to distribute. That's to deal cards. And it's a collocation with cards. Craig, do you play cards? What games
I
do you play?
used to play cards back in the UK with my friends. I used to play poker for money when I was younger.
Oh yeah, even poker. Poker is quite difficult.
Poker's a big deal if you're playing for money, and then you deal the cards.
Yeah, it's a big deal if you're playing for money. And
there's another.
Did you ever lose your shirt?
I didn't lose my shirt, but I lost a great deal of money. We can also use deal for a quantity of something. Huge deal of money, a great deal of money means a lot of money. So that's another use of deal, for quantity.
Yeah.
I had a great deal of things to do. I have, for example.
That's another, and Eduardo says, you can say the opposite. That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. Of course, you can say the opposite. Say, like, it's not important. For example, Craig is complaining about having to take the rubbish out every evening and says, why are you complaining? It's not a big deal. You just walk there. It's one block from your house. That's not a big deal. Sometimes we make a big deal out of nothing. Okay. Oh,
I've just thought of, there's another meaning. If there's something that's non-negotiable in business, it could be a deal breaker. For example, if you want to buy my bicycle and I have a bell on the bicycle and I say, well, I'm not selling you the bicycle, Monica, because I want to keep the bell. I can sell you the bicycle, but I want to keep the bell. You could say, no, that's a deal breaker. I need the bell. So if you're not including the bell, the deal's off.
Yeah.
Because that's a deal breaker.
I'm thinking of the politicians in Spain. There are a lot of things that are deal breakers now at the current moment in the Spanish politics. No, there are many things that are deal breakers. Unfortunately, now is your turn with the word draft.
Draft, yes. Well, let's start with the spelling, because the spelling we've got there is the American English spelling, D-R-A-F-T. And you can also spell it a different way, more common in British English. That's D-R-A-U-G-H-T. Now, one meaning of draft is an uncomfortable breeze. Imagine you're sitting at home and it's windy outside and your windows don't close properly. Maybe there's some air, some wind that's coming into the house and you don't like it because you're sitting in a draft. The adjective is drafty. You can have a drafty building, a drafty room where the air's coming in and you feel a bit chilly, a bit cold. So usually older people, grandparents, they don't like sitting in a draft. They like to be warm. So that's one meaning, an uncomfortable breeze. Also, as a verb in the army, you can be drafted to be a soldier. How would you say that in Spanish, Monica? To draft into the army?
I had to look it up because I didn't know how to say this in Spanish. It's llamada a filas. Yeah, you're. Okay. Well, I am not an expert in this topic, but I think that if there's a war, you would be drafted, no?
Yes, well, you can volunteer. That's one way of joining the army. You say, okay, I'm going to the army. It's my choice. I volunteer voluntarily. Or the government can take you. And if the government take you because there's an emergency or a war, then you are drafted into the army. It's a verb and a noun. You can draft people into the army, and the draft is the expression for when people are taken into the army to fight. Another meaning, you can write things. The first time you write something, it's a draft, a first draft. That's your first borrador, I think you say in Spanish. The first time you write.
Borrador.
You can draft a contract.
Fátima, thank you. Reclutar. Eduardo also thank you. Alistarse in reclutar. Yeah, I put llamada a filas, but that's more formal. But
Okay.
alistarse en el ejército, to draft. Yes, good. Thank you, Fátima. And thank you, Eduardo. Reclutar.
When you write a blog post, Mónica, how many drafts do you do? Do you just write it once, one draft, or do you repeat it sometimes before you publish?
Depends on the type of post. Sometimes it can be many types. Well, there's not like in the past where you just write one thing on paper and then you correct it. Now you can just start correcting reading it, and I still have to change some things. A couple of drafts usually. It depends on the type of post also, because if, for example, the post I make after we finish this, I will make a post. There is normally just the list of words, so it's only one draft, no more. And Eduardo says also the NBA draft.
That's right. It's the same meaning as the army when they take potential players, like really good college basketball players, and they bring them into the professional leagues. It's the same idea as the army. They're pulling you in to play, so they're drafting people into the teams. There are one or two other meanings that we don't have on the screen. There's the game drafts, which in Spanish is damas. And in American English, they say checkers, to play checkers, to play drafts. In British English, it's drafts. And also very common when you're drinking beer, because if you drink draft beer, using draft as an adjective, that means beer from the barrel, or you could say from the tap. So you can have bottled beer and draft beer. Guinness on draft is Guinness from the barrel, for example.
Okay. Next one. This one is for me. Jam. The first thing I'm going to say that the word jam doesn't mean jamón. Please.
Nope.
Everybody makes this mistake. I just ate some Spanish jam. No, come on. That's marmalade. Like it's they're made from fruit. So it's a kind of confiture, like this French say. So jam is made from fruits. It's not made from pigs. So that's why that is a very common mistake. So please pay attention to that word. Jam does not mean jamón. How do you say jamón? Ham with an H, very soft. That's like he's saying it. Ham. Do not use your throat to pronounce this sound. You say, like you were a little bit tired, and you go after you run. No, and you go.
Or cleaning your glasses.
Or cleaning your glasses. But in this case, the sound is jam. No, it's a strong sound. So, and it means what you put in your bread, fruit that you put in your bread, and it comes usually in a, how do you say that? I forgot. Not
a jar, a jam jar.
Another jam jar. Yes, jar. Bote.
Jam jar.
Yes. Then you have traffic jam. Traffic jam. Okay, traffic jam. If you have a traffic jam, is because there are many cars in the morning going, or in the evening going to the same place at the same time. And there is a traffic story. And it is very, very common to, for example, you oversleep and you say, sorry, there was a horrible traffic jam. And most people think, well, and it's very difficult to know because it's true. Madrid is full of traffic.
Is it common in Madrid? Yeah, lots of
traffic
jams.
With the COVID, it's a different situation because many people are remote working. But pre-COVID situation, it was very common to be in a traffic jam all the time because Madrid is completely full of cars. So there's a traffic jam. I cannot get there because there was an accident. So there is a traffic jam. And this word brings me to another idea, and it's a bad situation. So I remember, how can I say this? Because I remember also in the photocopy machine, it says paper jam. When the paper gets stuck, sometimes you can read it says this paper jam, so paper atascado. So when you're in a bad situation, it's the same meaning, no?
It's not because somebody's put jam in the photocopier. No, there's no jam sandwiches in the photocopier, and nobody has tried to copy a jam sandwich. It's because it's stuck.
Yeah,
que no mueve. The paper's stuck.
It's
jammed.
And
the copier's jammed.
It's one thing over the other. So it's jam. In Spanish, we say atascado, no? We're jammed. It's a bad situation because we're...
As Felipe says,
Felipe says,
atascado.
Okay, Gemma. Well, is there any... Eduardo is asking, is there any other word for traffic jam?
Well, there's a collocation. There's a collocation with traffic that's heavy. We talk about heavy
traffic or
traffic, but maybe the traffic is moving, but it's not stuck. It's not jammed. Hasn't stopped. Traffic jams usually mean there's no movement, and heavy traffic means there's a lot of traffic, many cars, and it's going very, very slowly.
You can also say dense traffic, or that's more formal. It sounds more formal. Traffic.
Yeah, I think heavy is more common. Heavy traffic.
Yeah, but there's a difference because, like you said, traffic jam is you just atasco. Un atasco, you cannot go. But so for atasco, what he's asking, I think there's only traffic jam. Traffic is heavy. The traffic is dense. I don't know if any other words that means the same in English.
You can use jam as a verb. If you jam something into something, you push it very hard. Sobrecargar. So if you have a suitcase and you have too many clothes and you try to jam your clothes into the bag or into the suitcase, you're pushing too many things in a small space. Jam it inside.
Yes.
Forzar. Saturar.
Meter a la fuerza algo. To jam. So, and Gemma is talking about the Madrid is very difficult to park your car. Yes. It is now. It's going to become more and more difficult because then you have the problem of the different signs that cars have according to the amount of pollution they produce, the cars. And now certain cars you cannot go. All cars you cannot go to Madrid anymore because
really?
you will have they're slowly, gradually they're going to have more stricter rules. So for example, you can go, but you have to park in a parking garage, but you cannot park in the street. That's not possible for example, with my car. They will put you a fine. So exactly, he says. Okay, let's see another. We were jam. Okay, I think we finished with these meanings, and let's go to mind.
Mind, another word with multiple meanings. Mind. Well, it's a synonym of your brain, what's inside your head. Tu mente is your mind. The mind is a wonderful thing. So there it's a noun, and it means what you think with, what's inside your head. So mente. And of course, you can also have the expression, I don't mind. No me importa. And sometimes there's confusion between I don't mind and I don't care. They're quite similar, no me importa, but I don't care is often used when you're a little bit cross, irritated. What do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't care. Can I turn over the channel and watch the TV on the other channel? Oh, I don't care. I don't mind is really, it doesn't matter to me. I really have no opinion one way or the other. So I don't mind is un poco más suave. And I don't care can also be a little more aggressive.
I think it's a different kind of question also. For example, do you mind if I smoke? No, I don't mind.
That's asking for permission.
Yeah, asking for permission. And so, no, I don't mind really. But if you say I don't care, it's like I don't give a damn. I mean, it's like.
No, but that's a good example. If you're in a outside, let's say now we're under restrictions, so we're in a terrace outside, and there's a person on the next table. Maybe the smoke bothers you. Maybe you don't like someone, but legally they can maybe smoke outside. So if you're a smoker and you say, do you mind if I smoke? I could say, oh, I don't care. And if I say it like that, then it's me
bad.
importa, pero haces lo que quieres.
Yes,
so
exactly.
it depends on your intonation also.
Yeah.
But I don't mind is a little softer. So yeah, I don't mind.
I don't mind. It's neutral. I would say neutral.
Exactly.
It's completely neutral. And mind, I remember this in the tube.
Many people remember this. Yeah, it means cuidado, be careful. So mind the gap means be careful of the space in London in the train, between the train and the, how do you say anden in English? The platform. The platform. The gap. You can say mind the steps or mind the floor because the floor's wet, it's slippery, don't fall over. So that use of mind just means be careful. Be careful and don't fall down or don't have an accident. And one more, going back to mind as mente, of course, you can lose your mind when you go crazy. If you lose your mind, you'll go mad, you go crazy. And if your children are really bothering you, you can say, stop doing that because I'm losing my mind with you kids, for example.
I don't know if there are any comments. No, on this now. We have here nail. Nail. I like these expressions. Okay, nail is uña, like fingernail, right? Nail. But also, it's funny because nail also in English is clavo. So that's why we have the hammer, martillo y clavo. It's the type of and then, so you can say, I need some nails, and that doesn't mean fingernails. It means I need some nails to make this table, for example, because I'm going to hammer there with the nail. And from this idea, because this is I think this is the idea that brought the expression, that created the expression, I've nailed it, to nail something. And it means, in Spanish, it's very funny because in Spanish, we say similar expression. You've nailed it, has dado lo has hecho perfecto, has dado en el clavo, you've nailed it. And I nail it, past tense. And it's funny because I remember I saw this on one social network, that's Pinterest. There was a guy showing these cupcakes made with the tray to make cupcakes, but upside down, not to put it the upside down. So there was a person showing this tray and then showing very nice cupcakes that came perfectly well using this tray for making them on the upside down. It was very strange. And so the guy tried this thing to do the thing, and he put comment, I've nailed it, and as a joke.
Acertado.
Sí, lo he dado en el clavo. And all the cakes, the cupcakes were just spread all over the tray, and it was just terrible. It was just like it was like dough that it was just running around, but it was a joke. I've nailed it, or I can say too, you've nailed it. And this Facebook Live, you nailed it because you did everything. Has acertado, has dado en el clavo. You said everything precisely, no?
So this guy's cupcakes, were they coated with chocolate?
Yes.
Yes. Coated with chocolate. Did you see what I did there?
Coated with chocolate. They were, sí, tenían una capa de chocolate, as if I remember right. I think they were. And it was very funny because it's a very good way to learn this expression, because he was saying in an ironic way, I've nailed it. Actually, it was a disaster.
Yeah. he didn't nail it at all.
No, it didn't work. No lo hice. Many things happen. Sometimes it happened to me, you copy a recipe and then you go and you make the recipe and it's a disaster. It's not.
But I like it when people post photos like that, because the internet and Instagram is full of perfect lives and perfect cupcakes and perfect days. Exactly. And when somebody really messes up and they don't nail it, it's really nice to see the disaster. I like it. One thing before we move on, one word or two words that I often confuse in Spanish is the difference between tornillo and clavo. Yeah. So Mónica said that nail is clavo, Tornillo
screw.
is screw. C-R-E.
Yeah.
C-R-E. Sorry.
No.
S-C-R-E-W. Screw.
Yes, W. Screw.
Tornillo.
Screw.
Be careful of the difference. That's important. Screw and nail.
And nail, yeah. And Eduardo says, talking about the previous word, mind your business. Mind your business is negative. That is very negative. Like they say, come on, Craig starts asking me about things I don't want to talk about.
How much money do you earn, Monica?
Yeah, mind your business.
That's very often used with own, isn't it? Mind your own business.
Yeah,
mind your own business.
I mean, no te metas en lo que no te importa. Something
mind
like
your own
that.
business.
Mind your business. O sea, mind your things. And then he says nuts and bolts. The nuts and bolts is an expression in English. So it's to know everything about something, no? Craig knows the nuts and bolts of the English grammar, for example.
But also, I think Eduardo's comparing nuts and bolts with screws and nails because
but
the nut
is tuerca. A ver.
Tuerca, that's it. Tuerca,
yeah. And let me see. Bolts. Que bolts, I don't know. Tornillo, perno, cerrojo. Es que it's for locking a door. Es un pestillo.
No, okay. That's not what Eduardo means. Well, let's put nuts and bolts in word reference.
Yeah,
we're using word reference.
No, but nuts and bolts is a figurative expression. Nuts and bolts.
How do you translate it into Spanish? Tuercas y tornillos.
Pero eso no significa eso. Los intríngulis del negocio. The nuts and bolts, like when you know everything, no?
Eduardo says I nailed it. Thank you, Eduardo.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
Tuercos y tornillos. Tuercas y tornillos.
Tuercas y tornillos. The nuts are tuercas y bolts are tornillos still. Okay.
Monica knows the nuts and bolts of the English language.
No, you know the nuts and bolts of the English language. El intríngulis, all the... Okay, so let me see. Next one. And now...
What's the next word?
The next one is for you, no? Pool.
Pool. Yeah, most of you know swimming pool. If you go swimming in a swimming pool. But do you know the word carpool? That's a group of cars together that is quite common in big companies. If you work for a big company, then they probably have company cars. And sometimes you can have an individual car that's your company car and you don't share it. But very often with a company, they have a group of cars that people can use, and that's called a carpool. And there's another use. If you go to work and you're a commuter, so you travel from outside the city into the city to work, you can join a carpool, which means you share the car to travel together. So you invite people into your car and you drive to the same place together. So there's another expression to pool your resources, which means to bring your resources together, tus recursos, so that everybody's working in a common way. Maybe one person's good at drawing, another person's good at speaking, another person's good at mathematics. And if you come together and you use your talents in a common way, you're pooling your resources. That's the verb. As a noun, I think it's charco in Spanish, a pool of water.
Charco.
Yeah, charco. So a pool of water. And of course, you can also have a pool of blood. If someone's murdered or killed, they could be on the floor lying in a pool of blood, for example. That's another use of pool. And it's also a game. We didn't write that either. It's a game.
Pool is a game.
American pool.
A pool. And
game of pool.
There's a different kind of pool. I don't remember the different snookers. I don't know too well because I'm not doing snookers.
Oh, I can tell you quickly. Snooker is more common in the UK, and that's played on a very, very big table.
Yeah, I always confuse.
With sticks called cues and balls. And American pool, they have bigger balls because because they're American, haha, and with numbers on them, and the table's much smaller. So American pool on a smaller table, and snooker played on a bigger table. That's basically the difference, and the rules are very different, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Different games.
Thank you for the explanation. And I want to say, Christine, thank you for coming. She says, I'm a bit late. Yeah, but we still have some time because we still have some words. And Felipe says, posta.
We don't mind.
Calco. And Eduardo said, pools were related to the game of billiard. Yeah, pool.
Yeah, billiards played on a small table. It's played on a table same size as pool, but it has different rules. So there's only 3 balls in billiards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one is so. This is for me. So is the past tense of see. See, saw, seen. I saw, for example, I saw a man walking down the street, or I saw a dog with his owner going for a walk, or I saw a nice car. No, I see, so, seen. But saw is also to cut wood. And that is a very interesting word, because if you don't know that the meaning is to cut wood, you might be confused thinking it's the past tense of see, because the most common, of course, the most common word is the past tense of see. And you say, so I'm going to saw some, saw this piece of wood and I'm going to make a chair, for example. I don't know. Do you know how to sew?
No. When I was very young, I used to help my dad, and we had classes in school, woodwork classes, but I was never very good at sawing wood.
But you did it.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
I remember.
I also did cooking at school. So.
And you never decide. Well, it depends how much you practice. But what I know is, I think one time. So is also la sierra, no? It's also the tool that you use to cut the wood.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
the verb and the noun.
Somebody, I don't remember where, but I've seen somebody doing it, a guy doing it, and I tried, and I didn't even. I know. I wanted to sow some trees that I have in the garden because they were dead, and nobody wanted to help me. My guys didn't want to do it, and I said, "I'm going to do it." And I go with this saw, and I was like, "Wow, this is very difficult. It's very difficult to sew because you need a lot of strength, basically."
Yeah. You do, especially if the wood's hard.
Sierra,
Felipe is asking if saw could be also refran. I haven't heard that use, Felipe.
No,
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
And then Eduardo says to play at the seesaw.
On the seesaw. It will be S-double-E, I think, the spelling of seesaw, and that's for children, where you have something like this that goes up and down.
Yeah. I didn't get it. What he meant. On the seesaw is un balancín.
So that one child is here, one child is there, and it goes up and down like that. Yeah.
I don't know in Spanish, but I don't know, because it's such a long time I haven't done that.
Oh, I was on the seesaw yesterday.
Yeah.
Good fun. No.
Seesaw, sí, all together, sí, como seesaw, barra con asientos en los extremos que sube y baja, balancín. But I don't know if you call it that way. Seesaw,
The preposition would be to play on the seesaw, not at.
Yeah, but
so you could play at the sea, but on the seesaw.
Were you on a seesaw yesterday? Come on.
No, I was joking. Yeah, do you think I was on a seesaw, Monica?
No.
At my age?
No. If I
was on a seesaw with a child sitting on the other end of the seesaw, and I sat on one end, the child would go flying in the air.
Yes, and I remember I think it was my brother that did that to me. He was heavier than I was, and he just had me on top for a long time, at least, some minutes. And I was, let me down. I was just pushing. Seesaw, el balancín. Sube y baja, a call in Spanish, sube y baja, ¿no? Es que no sé cómo sube y baja.
Tiene sentido.
Okay. we call it sub y baja. Okay, sub y baja, like this, sub y baja. Okay, next one.
Yes.
For you. This is easy. Season.
It's easy and it's quick. You probably know the use of season, the 4 seasons of the year. Say them with me: summer, autumn, or fall in American English, winter, and spring. So the only difference in American English is fall. That's easy to remember because the leaves fall from the trees. In the autumn is British English. But maybe you don't know that season is also used as a verb and a noun to give food flavor. So can you season the salad means put oil and pepper and salt and other condiments and spices onto the food. You can also use the gerund, that's very common, seasoning. So you can say that it needs more seasoning. It needs more flavor, more spices, more salt, more pepper. The paella lacks seasoning. It doesn't have a lot of taste, for example.
That means condimentar. Okay, I think everybody understood because explanation was crystal clear.
Crystal clear, thank you.
Yeah, sign. Let's go a little bit faster, I think, because we don't have too many. 3 more to go, and that's it. Yep. Sign. Okay, 2 meanings. Sign. You sign. This is from the word signature. The noun is signature. That means firma, and to sign your paper, you need to sign. For example, nowadays it's less and less common because of electronic digital signatures. But in the past, you have to sign contracts. You have to sign when you get married. You have to sign any kind of document that is official. They need your signature. And this is a signal that you accept something, no? Firmar. And then we have a sign. You can see signs. When you drive, you can see signs that indicate you north, south, the next city center, all kinds of signs. When you're driving on the road, you can see many signs. And that means, in Spanish, señales, no? Son señales. There are many signs. Well, and also can be other kind of signs, not necessarily for the road, no? I think you can put a sign anywhere, no? And as a private person, not only for the highway or any route, you can just put a sign there for sale, for example. My house is for sale. That's a sign, ¿no? Eso también es un letrero. Okay, yep. And I don't know if there's any other meaning.
There's sign language.
The sign language, yes. Okay. Let me see. Eduardo's asking some question. A lot of injuries, she says, a lot of injuries playing on the seesaw. And then she says, when you name the 4 seasons, which one do you start with? I never thought about this.
I always start with winter because that's my favorite season. I love winter. So also the song by Carole King, Winter, Spring, Summer, and Fall.
Yes, but this is only because of the song. I don't think there's really an order.
There's no order. There's no special order, Eduardo. Whatever. I would start with your favorite season. What's your favorite season? Start with that one.
Look, Craig, do you have to season the shepherd's pie?
How did you know that the only thing I can cook is a shepherd's pie, Jose? Yeah. How did you know that? That's the only thing I know.
Because you told us one Facebook. I remember you said the only thing that I know how to cook is the shepherd's pie.
It's true, but I cook it well.
Very well. Yes.
Okay. Only one thing that I cook well.
Typical British food. The shepherd's pie.
I do season it. I do season it with some salt, some pepper, some Worcester sauce, and some other secret ingredients.
Oh, okay. I suppose people, at least in Spain, they want to go to have dinner, so we hurry up. This is for you. Tip top money advice.
To tip, yes, you tip money. Dar una propina. It's a verb and a noun, so you tip the waiter or the waitress, or you give the waiter a tip. Propina. It can also be a piece of advice. If you give someone a tip, you can give them some advice. For example, I'll give you a tip on how to remember English. Go and read Monica's blog. That's a good tip. That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
And if you give someone a tip, you can tip them off. So there's a phrasal verb with tip. To tip them off is to give them some good advice or push them in the right direction. I'll tip you off about the horse that's going to win the race, and you can bet money and win the race. So you help them by tipping them off.
Yeah, the meaning of that in Spanish is soplar, no?
Other meanings, there's the tip of the pen, which is the top of the pen or the tip of the mountain, la cima. And finally, a rubbish tip is a very British English use of the word. And the rubbish tip is where you take your rubbish, your basura, and you tip it, because tip also means echar, to tip. So you throw away your rubbish at a rubbish tip.
Yeah, but that's British, I think. It's British.
That's British English. Americans would say something else. I don't know what Americans would say, but they wouldn't say rubbish. They would say garbage or trash.
Yeah, we say garbage, yeah. Okay, let's go for, let me see, to tip your head. Yeah, well,
or tip your hat. Good morning, tip your hat.
Jose Ignacio says, I have listened to all your cuadernos mensuales to practice my English. So that's why he knows that you only know how to cook.
Thank you, Jose Ignacio.
And then Eduardo says that in Spanish, we start with the spring. Really, I've been speaking Spanish all my life, and the first time I hear this, maybe I don't know it. Okay, so, and also to Christine,
yes.
Thank you, to have it on the tip of your tongue, en la punta de la lengua.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
This is when you cannot remember, no? I know this, but I don't remember her name. I know who we're talking about, but I cannot remember. That's to have something, a name on the tip of my tongue. Okay, let's go for wave. Okay, I don't want to. Okay, wave here. We have to wave is to say hello. It's waving. So, how to say saludar? To wave. Oh, she's waving at me. Hey, hello, I'm here. Sometimes people are waving at you, and you may like you didn't see them. Yeah, I haven't seen you. I haven't seen them. Oh, hello, I'm here. Okay. Wave is also hola. Everybody knows this. And waves, now with the virus, we're talking about waves because there's
we're in the third wave, are we? Or fourth? Yeah, I don't know.
And this sense is similar to the sea because it's ups and downs. What they mean with waves is that it goes up and down and up and no, there's all the time coming and going, and it's different waves. And in Spanish is exactly the same. It's hola. So, but the difference here is in wave, but probably most people or many people wouldn't know this meaning of saludar, to wave at someone, no? Waving at him, and he's not paying attention. Okay, and the last one for you, Craig.
Watch. We don't use them very often these days, but if you can remember years and years and years ago, before mobile phones, we used to have wrist watches here on your wrist to tell the time. Now, the clock is on the wall, so a clock is on the wall or it's smaller, but the watch is on your wrist. This is your wrist here. So a wrist watch is worn on your wrist. And as a verb, it's to watch something, means to look at something, or to see something. The difference is when you watch something, there's a lot more engagement. You're more involved in what you're seeing. And that's why we say watch television, but see something in the streets. So you can see something by accident, but when you're watching it, you're involved in what's happening. You're watching a game of football or a game of tennis, for example. And also another meaning, it can mean turno or shift, especially if you're in law enforcement. If you're a policeman or a detective, you might say something like, oh, there were no problems, there were no criminals on my watch. So you'd use that as a noun to say, when I was working, nothing bad happened. No problems on my watch. That's very common in movies, especially American movies. And that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's
Unless
it.
you can think of another meaning for watch. Any more meanings for watch?
Exactly on time. It's exactly 1 hour. But we have to say goodbye. Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate that you're here every week. Well, I am every 15 days, a fortnight. and Craig is every week en La Mansión del Inglés. And well, don't forget to visit el blog para aprender inglés. And of course, La Mansión del Inglés, en Inglés podcast. And well, I don't know, Craig, do you want to add anything else?
Only one thing. If you found this interesting and you're interested to learn more about homonyms, multiple meaning words, we did a podcast about this a few months ago. It was episode 237. So if you want to learn some more of these homonyms, go to inglespodcast.com/237. And thank you very much for spending time with us. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next 15 days. Bye-bye.
Take care. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.